Hello friends and welcome again. Now, one of the most underprepared part of any interview is the beginning, where the interviewer asks you to introduce yourself. People don't prepare that much. And second is towards the end, where the interview asks you, let me know if you have any questions for me. Now in this video, I will tell you how you can ace that second part and be prepared for it for a PNG interview. Now, most of the coaches out there on the web would say that you have to say something or you have to ask a question which will help or make the interviewer get impressed with you with regards to how much knowledge you have about Procter & Gamble or about the role or about what Procter & Gamble does, their initiatives and all that. So just impress them by asking a question, let's say about any initiative that Procter & Gamble is doing, any new launch that they did, any corporate social responsibility program that they launched and all and all and all. However, don't do that. That's my strong recommendation. Don't go about impressing the interviewer with the amount of knowledge you have. Use this time to sell the interviewer that you are the right person. So they should hire you, not because you are knowledgeable about Procter & Gamble. They won't hire you because you are knowledgeable about Procter & Gamble. Anyone can go about getting that knowledge reading on the web. Why they want to hire you is because of certain skills and certain attributes that you have, which matches the culture they have. So they want to make sure that the skills and the attributes you have match the culture they have. That's it. It's not the knowledge you have, because they know once you come in the organization, they will teach you about the organization. They will teach you about the industry. They will teach you about marketing, sales, finance, whichever role you're joining them in. Of course, they expect you to have certain knowledge, and that knowledge is kind of shown or attested through the degrees you have or prior experience you have. What they are looking for is those particular skills, not the knowledge of the industry or not the knowledge of the company. They will teach you about the industry and the company. They just want to make sure, do you have those skills which you can use to solve problems when you join Procter & Gamble. Now, one call out before we move forward. In case you find any value from this video, please press the like button, as this keeps me motivated, and press the subscribe button along with the bell icon so you get notified as soon as I put a new content on this channel. On this channel, I post content pertaining to career and financial success for early and mid-career professionals. Now, here let me also call out that in case you are interested in having a one-to-one mock or preparation session for an interview with Procter & Gamble, you can do so by booking a slot with me. I will leave the link to my calendar and the details of how you can go about booking the slot in the description of this video. Also, in case you're interested in knowing what that mock session or preparation session would look like, I have a recorded session with one of my followers. You can check it out here. I will leave the link here and also in the description of this video. Now let's get rolling back into the video. Now, one watch out. Make sure that you utilize this time and you just don't say, no, I don't have any questions, because either you really don't have any questions because you've not given any thought, or because all the questions you had have been asked by you from previous interviewers. Because let's say you had 2 interviews already, you had like 3-4 questions, you asked those interviewers already, they have responded to you, and now you don't have any further questions to ask this last interviewer. Don't do this. Make sure you utilize this time, because if you say you don't have any questions or all questions you had have been asked, now suddenly they will judge you negatively. Although they were not judging you, but now if you leave this space open and you say, no, I don't have anything to ask, now these are negative points. You don't want negative points. If you don't want positive points, what you don't want to get negative points either. So at best, you want this slot to be neutral. So make sure you don't take negative points by saying, I don't have any questions. You need to be prepared with any questions or some questions, and that is why this video is important. And on the same lines, what I've also seen candidates doing is saying, no, I know everything and hence I don't need to ask more questions, or I don't have any questions because I've read about the company and the role and I know everything. No, man, you don't know everything. You need to ask questions. You need to engage the interviewer and ask them questions. Now, more importantly, in case you have asked a question from a previous interviewer already, it is okay to repeat the same question. And you can even say that I did ask the previous interviewer the same question, but I would like to know your thoughts as well, or your punch on this particular topic. So you can always say that. Now, one way to sell yourself here is to ask this question, which is, can you tell me what does success look like for this individual in the role, or for the individual who would come in this role? Now, what you're essentially doing is you're trying to ask the interviewer what are those 2-3 key elements that they are looking for in the candidate who they will hire. Now, essentially or ideally, those 2-3 attributes are already covered by the questions they asked during the interview. But let's say the attributes are communication, leadership, and collaboration. And they did ask you questions around leadership and communication, but did not ask you a question around collaboration. Or maybe they did ask you a question around collaboration, but you did not end up answering about collaboration, you answered something else. Now they are clearly telling you, we are looking for someone who has leadership skills, communication skills, and is a good collaborator. And you suddenly realize that you did not talk about anything related to collaboration in your examples or in the previous questions that they were asking you. And suddenly what you can do is you can say, allow me to reflect on these key attributes that you called out. And I want to go one by one. You talked about leadership. I have examples of leadership. You talked about communication. I have examples of communication where I did better communication and I talked about them as well. And I have examples of collaboration because I've had challenges in past where there were conflicts in my team and I was able to collaborate, resolve, and achieve success. So what you are doing is you're asking the interviewer, tell me, what does success look like for this individual coming in this role or in the organization? They give you those attributes and you make sure that all of those attributes were covered by you either in the interview, or if they were not covered in the interview, then you make sure you double down on them and make sure that they understand that you do possess those skills. So it's kind of making sure that you don't leave the interview without or with missing any attribute or anything that you could have explained or detailed for yourself. Here, let me also call out that most of the attributes or the skills that are listed in the job description are usually very standard. Most of the time, they are just copy paste. So once you ask the interviewer, especially if this individual is the hiring manager, you will get the real truth, the top 3, top 4 requirements. What you find in the job description is mostly copy paste and it's a laundry list. You want to know what are those 3, 4 things which are critical and you don't want to miss anything which is critical. Now, second question that you can ask to the interviewer is about you, again, selling yourself. How do you sell yourself? Is you ask about what are the growth and training and development opportunities in the organization and in this role. Now you're sending them a message by this question. The message you are sending them is that you are an individual who is interested in growing, developing, training themselves, learning, and hence you want to join an organization where all these attributes and all these opportunities are available. So you want to know, do you have these opportunities available? Because I'm the guy who's hungry for growth, who's hungry for development, who's hungry for training and learning and all. Anyone would like to hire any individual or an individual who is into learning, who is into developing, who is into growth, because I want a hungry individual. I don't want a smart guy, the most intelligent guy, but who's not hungry, who's not motivated, not committed. So when you ask this question, you give a signal that I am all about growth, development, learning, training. So tell me, do you have these opportunities or not? Because this is what will excite me. Now, the third question that you can ask is where you make the interviewer talk about themselves. Everyone on this planet loves talking about themselves. Like if you ask me to talk about myself, I can go for hours and hours talking about myself, and I would feel so happy coming out of that interview because you just allowed me an opportunity to speak about myself. So here's the question you can ask. Tell me what makes you get out of the bed and come to work. What motivates you at Procter & Gamble or at the job you do? What excites you? What keeps you going? Now, suddenly here people want to talk about themselves, and at the same time, they will give you reflection of the culture as well. So you can kind of get a read on the culture, the type of work there is, the culture that exists, and you allow the opportunity for the individual to talk about themselves. And when they talk about themselves, imagine towards the end of the interview, all they're doing is they're talking about themselves. And once the interview closes, they end at a very great note because they come out very happy talking about themselves, how they are doing something or what motivates them, what they like about their work, their job and all. So that is a way where you can make the interviewer talk about themselves while also getting a snip on the culture that exists in the organization. Last but not the least, and this has to be the last question. This shouldn't be the first question. If you still have time left towards the end of the interview, then you can ask this particular question. And again, the idea is to make sure that you circle everything in, you cover everything, you don't miss anything. And this question will make sure you don't miss anything. So here's the question you ask. I don't have further questions. However, given I still have some time left, I would like to use this opportunity to ask whether there was anything that I did not cover. Did you get everything that you wanted to know about me? And if there is anything that I did not cover or I did not say or share, allow me this opportunity or let me know what was that, so I can use this time in order to share with you anything that could have been missed or I did not cover. What you're essentially doing is you're making sure if there is any part which is left in the interview where the interviewer was like, man, I wanted to ask this question, but this guy just kept on going and going and going, didn't give me space to probe. So they just stood back and didn't ask those questions and kept it as a question mark in their mind. And suddenly they go like, okay, I do have this 2-3 minutes left, and maybe I can ask them about that particular thing which I kind of missed. Or if there is anything which you talked and your example was not strong, maybe they go about saying, okay, yeah, you can elaborate more on this particular angle. Or if there is any curiosity question with regards to your resume that they wanted to ask but they couldn't ask, you can use that opportunity that they end up asking you that particular question. Also, if they say, no, I have no questions and everything was covered and you did a great job, because now the onus is on them. They told you, they confirmed to you that all that needed to be known about you has been known, all they wanted to know has been known, and there is nothing they want to ask you further. So now there is pressure on them, given they confirmed to you that you have given a complete interview. So when they go back and they debrief, there will be certain slight pressure on them to clear you out just because they've confirmed to you that you gave a complete interview. Anyways, hopefully this video was helpful for you to now be able to ace the Procter & Gamble interview process. In case you found this valuable, I'm sure you'll find another video on my channel very valuable where I talk about how you should go about tackling the question where you introduce yourself. So here's the question. Other than that, there's another video where I talk about how you can control your nerves during an interview. You can check out that video here. Thank you.